Welcome to SME's Additive Manufacturing Influencer Series, dedicated to the passionate professional to volunteer with SME to connect the digital thread of additive manufacturing with traditional manufacturing. My name is Adam Penna, your host, leading customer engagement for our SME additive manufacturing community. My guest today is Dr. Olga Ivanova, and she's the Director of Technology at Mechnano in Mesa, Arizona. So, Dr. O, welcome.
Hi.
Yes, wonderful to have you here. Now, Olga is the Director of Technology for Mechnano. As a researcher with more than 10 years of experience in additive manufacturing, Dr. Ivanova has lived in 2 different countries, attended 3 universities, and worked for 3 companies focused on divergent technology. She credits these experiences for exposing her to different cultures, background, and technical skills, all of which has enabled her to launch her interdisciplinary work and develop a global R&D network. Her AM R&D work includes the fused filament fabrication of textiles to produce military uniforms, developing radiation curable silicones for manufacturing, neonatal medical devices, modifying positions for decoy flares, allowing them to be 3D printable, and much more. All amazing work there, Dr. O. So welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. And I know we've had fun preparing for this, so this should be an interesting one for sure. It's always great to talk with you. So thanks for doing this today.
Absolutely.
Now, we've been talking about experiences in additive manufacturing, and we all have different experiences coming into this particular industry. So what was your first experience with additive manufacturing?
My additive manufacturing journey started during my postdoctoral appointment. My formal training is in chemistry of nanomaterials with an emphasis on electrochemical performance. Has nothing to do with additive manufacturing, as you can see.
Yeah.
When I was looking for a postdoctoral appointment, I did not want to do electrochemistry anymore. And I saw my postdoctoral appointment as an opportunity to learn a new technology or area of science, stepping out of my comfort zone, so to speak, but at the same time, be a valuable addition to the team. I found the ad from Virginia Tech for nanocomposites for 3D printing. And I thought, no, it's me. What is 3D printing? I did not even know what that was. So I did a web search, read a lot of articles, watched multiple videos about the technology, and thought, wow, this is cool. I want to do this. And Tom Campbell and Chris Williams from Virginia Tech, they brought me on board, and well, I stuck around. I'm still here.
Yeah. No, you've definitely stuck around. I know you've been a part of a lot of different companies in the startup phase, but also progressing into growing into a larger company. So how has that journey been for you? You know, actually now understanding and being around additive for a while, you've actually played a lot of key roles in some of these companies. So how has that journey been for you?
It's been great.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Right?
Yeah, it's exciting. You know, there's a lot of different things that we do get involved in.
Exactly. You think about your postdoc, right? And again, I thought of it as I want to learn something new. I want to do something different. When you do electrochemistry for 6 to 10 years, my master's is in electrochemistry as well, in corrosion studies, you just want to do something different. You're sick and tired of what you're doing. Like, let me learn something new. And I think that's what postdocs should be about. And frankly, it was challenging. Again, it was completely new field. And my postdoc experience was somewhat, let's put it that, throw me in the deep end and told me to swim.
That's how we learn, right? That's
exactly. And, you know, I learn as I go, and you're right. It's been challenging, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's a lot that happens inside of manufacturing in general. But then when you look at what additive manufacturing brings to the table, some different tools in the toolbox that we all talk about, and you've seen a lot of different things happen over the years inside of additive manufacturing as it applies to manufacturing. So what do you think is the impact of additive manufacturing to the broad manufacturing industry as a whole?
The way we manufacture parts has changed dramatically as a result of advancement in additive manufacturing. And it's really hard to wrap it up about impact of additive on the industry as a whole, because additive manufacturing technologies provide numerous benefits to any industry. You think about part design and performance, sustainability, separation of design and manufacturing processes, distributed and remote fabrication, production cycle reduction, cost reduction. Those are all factors to consider. And it's really hard to say, oh, it's huge. But when you dive deep into what the benefits are, it's enormous. It's enormous. I have no words. Have no words to describe how huge impact is of additive manufacturing to any industry. And you name it, it's aerospace and defense were the first adopters, right? Automotive, medical, and consumer products, fashion, it's everything, everything. As soon as you learn what additive can do and then dive deeper, oh, but can it do that? And just go after it. Like with pyrotechnic flares, why would you manufacture them using additive manufacturing? But there are reasons to do that.
Yeah. So I'm curious. So what were the reasons to do that? Like, what was the big difference that additive brought to that particular application?
That was a project sponsored by Navy. What they were looking for, advanced performance of decoy flares. So it's a fighter jet. It has a pyrotechnic decoy flares. When enemy missile is targeting your jet, you eject the flares and it generates specific IR signature, infrared signature, and it pretty much diverts the missile towards that signature away from the fighter jet. And what happens with current pyrotechnic flares, they have one single composition as a decoy that generates infrared signature when it burns. What Navy was looking for, and they didn't ask specifically to manufacture them using additive technologies. That's what I proposed to them because I saw that's the best thing ever. What they were looking for is to pack the flare cartridge with different compositions that would generate different IR signature and could be controlled in time and space while it burns. And you look at it from perspective, what could be better to layer different materials than additive manufacturing, right?
Layer by layer. Yeah, there you go.
And you can do layer by layer, like stack different compositions, like in a tube. That's what they do with regular fireworks. But you also could do core shell, like inside is one and the shell is another composition. So it could be burning at the same time, but given different IR signatures, et cetera, et cetera. It could be different shape. The possibilities were endless when you think about utilizing additive technologies instead of packing the flare like they traditionally do. Actually, they do fireworks by hand of all the things. That is tedious, I think. Yeah. It's very tedious.
Yeah.
But that's what it was all about. It's about controlling in time and space the release of infrared signatures coming from different pyrotechnic compositions that are loaded into the flare.
Yeah, and when you think about, like you were saying, layer by layer being not only to go up, but what's going on outside of the shell, each layer can be something different. That's very interesting. And obviously that would apply very well to building inside of a layer by layer process. So that's really cool. I hadn't thought about that, but thank you very much for diving deep on that.
Now everybody knows.
Now everybody knows. Firework time. It's getting crazy. But yeah, that's cool. That's really neat. I know there's a lot going on in other things you've been doing with applications, but there's a lot that manufacturers are doing to adopt or implement additive manufacturing in their company. So what would your advice be to some of those people that are getting into adopting additive manufacturing?
Read about additive manufacturing and learn as much as you can.
Yeah.
And there are a variety of resources available. SME, for example, hosts seminars and expert opinion series on additive manufacturing to educate on the latest trends and capabilities in the field. But I think just learning what additive is and what it can do will give you a good jump start into understanding which technology suits better for your specific industry. But then it's kind of coming with an open mind, because I don't think we utilize technology as much as we possibly can. We just scratching the surface. I think it's all about the risk. I have this application. Can I actually do additive? Can I use additive techniques for that? Because again, of all the benefits additive can bring. And for me, it was always, let me try this. But I'm an R&D, I'm a scientist. I just want to try cool things like pyrotechnics again. We always come back to pyrotechnics because it's a cool thing ever, because you can actually have a big kaboom in the lab if you want to. Try to avoid that, obviously, but
Obviously. No, but you're bringing up some good points there for what you're saying in the research world. Obviously, the ability to fail quicker happens inside of 3D printing and additive manufacturing, because you're able to test things and not go through so many different other processes to get the
exactly.
So yeah, talk about that in there and what that advantage is, because I think that's a big part that plays into what manufacturers can look for in some of the advantages. I think you explained it though. It's the bottom line is that each individual manufacturer has to look for their own benefits, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And again, we can't stress it enough that additive is not going to replace traditional manufacturing in all the cases. We can't stress it enough, because how many people reacted to it? Oh my God, I'm going to lose my job because I'm running CNC or something like that. But it's not. I truly believe it's going to just work side by side with traditional manufacturing. There are good cases for additive. There are bad cases for additive.
Yeah.
And that's what any industry that getting into additive needs to understand. Not everything is good case for additive manufacturing.
Right. Right. And when you do find that application, that's where it gets exciting, right? Like you were talking about with
exactly
some of the fireworks, but yeah, it's exciting when you find the application, when you even could look at your catalog or your current existing catalog of parts and say, hey, these might be better suited for an additive process, and take a look at why and what those benefits are. And then you start to actually go, okay, I could see how risk mitigation in something like a supply chain, or coming up with a new way to put multiple parts or multiple processes into one part. So you're saving time, saving money, saving weight. Obviously,
absolutely.
In the state industry,
absolutely.
that's a big deal. So there's all these different benefits that apply for a traditional manufacturer to take a look at what 3D printing and additive manufacturing can do for them. And it's exciting when we find those applications and we get to dig in and we get to see, okay, we can get there quicker. We can actually start doing things that benefit society, benefit each other when we're building parts and building different things for our community. So that's where it starts to get exciting. I like to hear about those different spaces where people adopt additive and what's actually going through their minds and why are they doing it, right?
Exactly. Coming back to the experiences, 3D printing of textiles for uniforms. When I called technical point of contact, it was Navy project too. Navy loves me, apparently. The first question I asked, why would you ever print a uniform? Like, it just blows my mind. Why? And people talk about benefits, form and fit, it's designed for you rather than designed for all. And I understand it with shoes, or sunglasses or something that you wear on yourself that can generate the pressure points. Helmets, I had a project on helmets as well. But when you think about clothing, the uniform, then there is a huge question, why would you do it additively? So the Navy personnel, he said, do you know how many steps are involved in creating a single item of clothing? Like, nope, I'm not a fabrics expert. I'm not a clothing expert. But if you think about, here's raw cotton, then they process it into fiber, then that fiber goes into weave, then that weave goes into cutting, and it's like hundreds of steps just to generate one item. But I still thought that buying a t-shirt is much cheaper than printing a t-shirt, right? But
in the normal sense it is, but
exactly,
you have a reason and a why. It's a totally different thing.
Exactly. And they wanted to have a supply on a Navy ship, for example, that they could actually print something like gloves, headgear, and things like that. Obviously, most likely not t-shirts, but uniform is a very wide term.
Obviously, uniforms is a wide term, but not a t-shirt or a normal t-shirt might not be your best thing to be 3D printing, obviously, but I could see how that customization, and we're actually doing something out in the field or doing something where it can't be done any other way. There's a benefit to that side of it. So that's good to hear that. I was thinking the same thing. Why? And so you just explained a little bit about the why.
And it's a lot of, I think for Navy, especially for personnel that is out there in the sea, it's all about logistics.
Right.
How to bring it on board.
Yeah. And that's where it would make sense. Thanks for diving into that application also. There's another one that I'm not too familiar with, but I could see where that benefit does happen in certain circumstances. And that's where you get to go and dig in and find those circumstances. The more applications we could find, the better, because that's where the more processes get normalized, standardization happens. You start to get everything from qualification standards that go along with everything that could help us improve the next time we do it. It's just all part of it. It definitely is. We started to talk a bit about your experience with SME, and I know that we have RAPID plus TCT coming up, and you'll be part of that this year. So talk about your experience with the SME event, RAPID plus TCT.
Overall, great. I enjoy attending RAPID and TCT, especially technical discussions. However, in recent years, it seems that the conference became more sales focused. I think for sales, information or connections, the trade show floor is the place to be, and expo is always a great time, and conference should stay a conference.
Yes, I agree.
But
You'll be part of the conference this year. That's correct also. So that should improve.
I hope so. I'm not sure I'm confirmed as a speaker, but I did submit everything I've been asked within like half an hour just to get the spot.
Nice. That'll be a big part of it this year. It'll be wonderful to have you there. So hopefully everything works out there. I'm sure it will.
Me too.
Yeah. So I guess, is that what you're looking forward to most this year at RAPID plus TCT? I know it's been an interesting year with us all through the pandemic and everything. Is there something in particular you're looking forward to this year there?
I'm looking forward to the entire event. I'm looking forward to RAPID and TCT.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, at the conference, learning about new developments. And again, 2020 was, not the greatest year for everybody. Yeah. Obviously, I read about new developments, but I would love to just go there and see it actually firsthand. At the trade show, obviously seeing all the fascinating parts, networking, catching up with people I haven't seen for a long time, developing new connections. And that's what RAPID and TCT is all about. It's a little bit of everything. It's like one package.
Yeah, it's exciting because obviously we have a lot to look forward to with seeing those different technologies and seeing our colleagues, and also getting a clue into the newer things that are out there that are happening that we don't get to see up close and in person. So it's always something fun to look forward to. Talking about SME inside of the additive manufacturing space, there's so much that SME has been doing, but what role do you see SME playing inside of additive manufacturing?
I think the role of any professional organization or society is to educate and inform through publications of journals, for example, offering networking opportunities, giving awards, building public awareness. I don't think SME is as active in promoting additive manufacturing as other groups, and I believe they could accomplish much more, but they need to be more aggressive in this space.
Yeah, agreed.
You go on the SME website, you click additive manufacturing, and it's not that much information there about additive manufacturing, to be honest. And when I say to be aggressive in the space, it doesn't mean squash the competition like AMAG or any other events, but more stand on their own and just promote additive more, really.
Yeah, that's good points. And that's a bit of this influencer series is a good start to that. There'll be a lot more to come. And I'm happy to see that switch of focus because, we get the kickback a lot of times that inside of manufacturing, AM is less than 2% of the whole manufacturing community out there. But at the same time, it's a focused less than 2%. So
yes. And again, SME is just huge. It's Society of Manufacturing Engineers. It's entire manufacturing space. And you're right, additive is just a fraction of it. But as an additive manufacturing professional, I would like to see more from SME that is directed to additive manufacturing specifically.
I couldn't agree more. There's a lot more that is happening and can happen. So I'm glad we're taking these steps going forward together because it'll be interesting to see as things roll out as we get past the pandemic side. And now people are actually taking action with live events. We're going to see a lot more of that happening in the community. So here we go, and I think it's important to get the feedback from people like yourself who are out there doing the work that can say, hey, this is what we need to focus on right now because the community needs it, the additive manufacturing need it, And also the manufacturing industry as a whole needs it, obviously. So we're all kind of shining the light on it, especially with what happened over the pandemic, with all of the health situations, the supply chain. There was so much with PPE out there going on and things that people couldn't get in time. So now the companies are looking at the risk mitigation side of that to take a look more at what 3D printing can do for them inside of that supply chain, inside of those emergency situations. So that's been a shining point over the last year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was impressive how so many additive companies, and not even additive, but the one that have additive machines, just jumped on it with masks and swabs and other supplies that were in shortage. That was very impressive.
Yeah, it is. And that also plays back into what we've been talking about with is the additive manufacturing community itself. We have a lot of different personalities, obviously, that are in this side of the manufacturing industry, but it's really neat. I think we see everything from the creators to the producers of the final parts inside of now going into production. So there's a lot more strict rules that have to go into a production process than a creative process, but they all blend well. You need that creative process. Obviously, the creative process is what gets us to do something different, like you're saying, the why of, hey, let's think about this in a different way. So I love that side of the AM community, but what do you think defines the additive manufacturing community? Or would you say is something that defines
I knew it's going there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think it can be clearly defined. It's an interesting and diverse group, as you said. It's a very diverse group of people. But I do think we have a common goal, advancing additive manufacturing.
You got it.
That's really, enough said, mic drop. Done.
I love the mic drop. We need more of those. Yes, that is for sure. It's good. I mean, there's a lot that happens inside the community. Obviously, we're lucky that we have a place that we could go virtual over this pandemic and do things together because of technology and because of people opening up their cameras inside of their homes and living rooms and even bedrooms at times because no one had a place to go. So it's just been a really interesting thing to look at as far as people opening up more. I think that's been a part of it. The open communication, I see that as being pushed forward by what we've all been going through. And hopefully we can continue to do more of that because I think it's great when people obviously share information and don't stay inside of their silos. There's a lot more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the only way to move the technology forward.
Yeah.
And I understand there are trade secrets, there are, secret sauces and things like that. But I think a lot of advancements actually coming from sharing the information.
Big time. And RAPID plus TCT is a great place to do that. We'll have a lot of people there together that can share information, and feel free to tap on people's shoulders and get more while you're there because you got to take advantage of that networking time. It's a great place to do it. Now, talking about places and people and community, we're all dealing also with the next generation of people that we're helping coming up inside of manufacturing and inside of 3D printing. And a lot of the younger generation is attracted to 3D printing. So what would your advice be to attract younger people into additive manufacturing or to the new workforce?
I'm not convinced we need to do anything special. You just said young people are attracted to additive manufacturing.
True. It is very true. Yeah.
Just give you an example. We advertised the job position a few weeks back and had over 200 applicants within maybe 2-week period until we just closed the job. I can't read more resumes. I'm done. I would say roughly 80% of the applicants being recent graduates with bachelor degrees, not advanced degrees, but actual young bachelors just graduated from school. And when I asked one of the applicants why he applied for the position, he said it was because he was interested in polymers, nanomaterials, and 3D printing.
Yeah.
And many schools now have instructional and research programs dedicated for additive manufacturing. Graduates of these programs are ready to work in additive manufacturing industry. And like when I first started, I did not enroll in any classes or attended any short courses. I'm a chemist. And in comparison to me, today's fresh graduates are better prepared for additive manufacturing position than I was back then. Again, I told you, I learn as I go, but some of the fresh graduates, they already know at least basics of additive manufacturing technology. So one of them, they worked already in a lab or on the machines, you name it, developing software, CAD design, etc., etc. I had zero of experience, period. You know what I mean? They're more prepared to just kick off their careers in the additive field than many actually of us were 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's evolving. I have a daughter now that's going into the 7th grade, but I always brought up in the past on some of these interviews and podcasts over this past year, especially the fact that she had a 3D printer in her first grade class. You know what I'm saying?
Here we go.
It's just something that is becoming part of the culture, part of the growing experience to the younger generation, something cool they can do to make things.
Exactly. And it's everything. It's not just mechanical engineering, it's design school, it's art school using those, They're exposed to it at much earlier stage now.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing what they can do when it's being exposed that early. And like you're saying, the other side of it, the high schools, the colleges, even the doctorate programs have additive manufacturing doctorate programs now that are just catching steam and getting actually people out into our industry. So we haven't even seen the real results of those programs growing and getting mature yet. So it's exciting.
I agree.
It's been great talking to you about these things. Obviously, with SME and looking at additive manufacturing, we're bringing more of the focus on what AM can do inside of the manufacturing community. And we have a future to look forward to, obviously, like we're talking about. How do you see additive manufacturing evolving in the next few years?
I think production is perhaps one of the most used terms in recent years when it comes to additive manufacturing for production. I think we have moved past the stage where we think about using additive manufacturing solely for prototyping purposes. We passed that. I think the objective now as a community is to maintain that momentum and keep evolving. Because if we move additive manufacturing to production, that shows the maturity of technology. And really to get there, truly get there, will entail advancements in all aspects of additive manufacturing technology, including hardware, software, materials, post-processing, entire workflow, really. And we see it. We see hardware being faster, precision is better, you can build larger parts, a lot of focus on the part quality, that you will get good part quality right away or nearly there. And software is catching up, especially in the past few years, with so many options, you name it, ANSYS, Anthropology, Link 3D, it depends what you're looking at, right? It's design, build optimization, hardware integration options in terms of software, merger of additive manufacturing and artificial intelligence, monitoring of the process, active feedback loop. And it's just so much in the software world, especially 18, 19, 20, there was a lot of focus on the software. Materials, obviously. As a material scientist, I have to bring that up.
Yes, definitely. Materials is all of it really right now, as far as what can be done with new materials and things.
Exactly. And you will not get far if you don't improve the materials.
No.
And
especially having more materials available that are even inside of traditional manufacturing, we're working towards that and having the same materials available. So.
Exactly. And metal additive manufacturing has progressed significantly in recent years from material standpoint. It's new alloys, it's how we process them, what part quality we get, and it will continue to do so. I believe resins and plastic will make the triumphant return, because sometimes it feels like everybody forgot there is a polymer additive out there.
Yeah.
But I think composites will really be the focus in the coming years when it comes down to polymers and resins. And frankly, applications, I think, will play a crucial role in really propelling the sector forward. As we discussed at the beginning, here's the application. Can I actually use additive? And what do I need to do to apply? What do I need to change to make it happen? with pyrotechnics, I had to change the composition to be able to process it through additive techniques. With textiles, it was both. It was materials and the machine had to be modified in order to be processed. So again, it's everything. You have to really keep evolving in all of these aspects. Again, hardware, software, materials, workflow, everything to actually get there, to get to production.
Yeah, the production ecosystem keeps growing. And like you're saying, there's so many sides of it that go in the software, the materials, and everything else we're doing to develop applications as we find them. Because the more applications that are out there, the more standard the processes become. And then it just keeps growing exponentially.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's exciting times. We're seeing that change happen right now and riding the wave together. It's been fun. It's been wonderful to have you here today. I'm so happy we had a chance to talk. And is there anything else that you'd like to add while we have you here?
No, I already dropped mic 2 minutes ago, so
yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah, you're out. You've dropped the mic, and it's all good. Well, Dr. O, again, thank you for being a positive leader inside the SME additive manufacturing community, and thank you very much.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure to talking to you today. Anytime.
Yes, wonderful. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely.